my viewer. Wink. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video. Today, I'm gonna be doing Reddit Am I the Asshole posts. Why, you may ask? Because it's a rough month for me, and I figured this would be fun and also maybe easier. I don't like having this hat on, but I'm gonna keep it as long as I can. First post. Am I the asshole for stopping my boyfriend's proposal at our best friend's wedding? My first initial thought is no. Why the fuck would you propose at someone else's wedding? Am I crazy for thinking that's a weird thing? I, female 26, and my boyfriend, male 25, attended a mutual friend's wedding. They're very close friends to us and brought my boyfriend and I together. My boyfriend and I are coming up on our 3-year anniversary and things were getting pretty serious. Enough so that I very much wanted to marry him. He's sweet, chatty, typically considerate and empathetic. Maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like that's a weird way to categorize someone. Chatty, typically considerate, not all the time, but typically. He's the person who I thought was the first to show me what a truly healthy and compassionate relationship was like. He's very serious about us too. We've had long talks about marriage, and it seemed we were in agreement with no formal declaration. We had even gotten as far as looking at rings, so the chance of a proposal was more of a when, not if. A few weeks before the wedding, us and the engaged couple at the time were hanging out. The topic of weddings was very prevalent, and my boyfriend had cracked a joke about proposing at our friend's wedding. The to-be groom joked back and said, "That'd be funny as hell." This was followed by me and the to-be bride both shutting it down, trying to be serious, but also not thinking he was serious. Sometimes men are so stupid. I'm really truly hoping that this bride or groom to be was genuinely joking when he said that'd be funny as hell, because that's not funny. During the reception, everyone had made their speeches and people were getting their food while our table was waiting. My boyfriend went up to the DJ, and after, they played my boyfriend and I's favorite song to scream sing in the car together, Story of My Life by One Direction. Okay, that's pretty awesome though, I can't lie about that. I look at him smiling and he's looking around. All of a sudden he grabs a fork, stands up and begins clanging on a glass. Oh, fuck. He's even drawing attention to it. Oh no. Immediately, the whole dining room looks over. I stand up and whisper the words, "Not right now." His face drops, and he yells a mix of, "I'm sorry, I was just joking." After he sat back down, I verbatim said, "Let them have their moment, let's make this our own." He wouldn't even look at me. When it was time to get our food, he immediately goes toward the exit. I follow and tried to catch up to him, but couldn't find him. I text him twice and call him a couple of times, but got no answer, so I went back to the reception. Yeah, that's a really stupid way to do it, I think. Even if your friends, whose this wedding is, were kind of in agreement that it was okay, which they're not, I still think proposing at someone else's wedding is just a weird thing to do, because it's supposed to be their day, and proposing immediately makes it your thing. He sent me a long text about how hard it was to get the ring, how he felt rejected by his closest person, and that I embarrassed him. I tried to explain that it's not that I didn't want to marry him, it was our best friend's wedding and they deserve their moment, that we should create our own and not piggyback off of theirs. He got offended and said that if I wanted to marry him, I wouldn't have stopped his proposal in front of everybody. This situation perplexes me. I've never seen the appeal of proposing at someone else's wedding, and tried to handle the situation in a way that I felt was calm and chill, but he's very adamant that I ruined the proposal, made him look like an asshole, and thus I'm the asshole. Am I missing something? Should I admit I was wrong and have just let his proposal go at our friend's wedding? No, I don't think you're the asshole in this situation. I think that's a very sane and normal thing to do. They didn't even really make him look like an asshole. He clanged the glass and he did the stupid thing of go, "Oh, sorry, it was just a joke, I didn't mean to do that," when he could have said, "Hey guys," he could have pivoted and done, "I'd like to make a toast to our great friends. I'm so happy that they're getting married, whatever. You know, it doesn't have to be a long speech. It can just be like, I'm so happy for you guys and I'm happy to be your friends. But I can also understand how, you know, that requires some quick thinking when you're feeling a lot of emotions. So, yeah, but no, I don't think that's an asshole thing to do at all. One of the comments is, not the asshole, the bride to be is one of your best friends and was not down with your man proposing at her wedding. Exactly. Who cares if the grooms think it would be funny? This is a 2 yes type situation from the married couple. Exactly. Both of them did not agree to this. Even the groom could be taken as a joke saying it would be funny. So the bride shut it down though. So that should automatically be like, okay, we're not doing this. And then someone else said, definitely a simultaneous turn of the keys required for launch. and I like that. That's a good one. All right, next up we have, am I the asshole for supporting my son grooming himself when my wife says he is too young? I'm very confused on this. So let's jump into the details of this one. My wife, 39, and I, 41, have a 13-year-old son who recently came to me with a personal question. Was it okay for him to shave down there? I was surprised but stayed calm. I told him it was normal to want to feel clean or tidy and that body grooming is a personal choice. I made sure he wasn't feeling pressured by anyone and reminded him hygiene and safety come first. He asked if I could help him get a trimmer. I said yes. Later that night, I told my wife, thinking she'd appreciate how open he felt with me. Instead, she was upset. She said 13 is too young to be thinking about that, and that I was encouraging adult behavior. I told her it's not inherently sexual, it's about body comfort and ownership, and if we don't make it taboo, he'll be more likely to come to us about things in the future. She strongly disagreed and said I should have waited until they could both be present to talk about it. I explained it was a private moment between father and son, and I didn't want to shame him or make him feel weird about asking. She said I went behind her back. I feel like that's like a thing about parenting that I've never really understood. A child can go to either parent and they're allowed to have those private personal moments with either parent. It doesn't have to always be both parents. Maybe for like the bigger picture stuff, it is nice to be included in that conversation. But ultimately, if the child feels more comfortable asking his dad about grooming, because he is also a boy, I feel like he's reasonably being like, Dad, I'm kind of embarrassed about this because I'm a fucking 13-year-old and I don't necessarily want to get mom involved. He didn't say that, but you know, you think about a 13-year-old boy and that just makes sense. So I've never understood the whole like, well, you went behind my back because you didn't include me in this conversation that our son wanted to have with you specifically. It's like, you're allowed to have these personal moments and not have everyone be part of it, if that makes sense. This led to a bigger argument. She started questioning how we handle other topics like body image, puberty, screen time. She asked me to return the trimmer. I said no. I told her we need to be aligned, but I won't punish our son for being open and responsible. To be completely clear, we've always been open about bodies and development, but this seems to have triggered something deeper in her. She comes from a more conservative upbringing and has always been a bit anxious about our son growing up too fast. Since then, she's been cold with both of us. She told me she feels undermined. Our son has picked up on the tension and now feels awkward even talking about normal hygiene stuff. We're now in a bit of a standoff. I've tried to bring it up gently, suggesting we talk with a therapist together about how we approach puberty topics, but she thinks I'm being too dramatic. Her sister, who has older teens, told her I did the right thing and that this isn't a big deal, but my wife thinks that's just modern parenting gone wrong, or gone too far. Am I the asshole for supporting our son in a private grooming choice without looping in my wife first? Is she the asshole for reacting this strongly and creating shame around something that could have been handled with less drama? For what it's worth, I also told our son that if he ever feels uncomfortable or unsure about any body stuff, he can talk to either of us and that we both love him no matter what. Yeah, I feel like for me this is a pretty cut and dry not the asshole moment on in terms of the dad. Kids are always going to be embarrassed about something, especially during this time in their life. So if a child is like asking one parent or the other, that's just normal. I feel, especially like if it's certain topics, the kid is going to go to someone that they kind of are more aligned with because they don't want to feel like embarrassed about anything. But the fact that the wife is like, this is modern parenting gone too wrong or too far is just weird to me. Like, I understand the idea of like you being worried about your 13-year-old doing this for like quote unquote nefarious reasons. But like, this is just a thing that happens. If she had been a part of this conversation and she was like, no, you can't do that, you're way too young for this, as the child I would be like, oh my god, I'm never gonna talk about anything like this ever again. So yeah, I would definitely say not the asshole on that front. Am I the asshole for going home after my husband dangled me over the parking garage edge as a prank and I thought he was killing me? I definitely am leaning towards not the asshole here. Hello, Reddit. This happened a couple days ago. I went out with my husband to eat at a place nearby that we had booked for the time and he had wanted to go for a while and he had been really looking forward to it, and I drove him there and we parked on the top floor of the parking garage nearby. And we got out of the car and started walking down the stairs, which were right on the edge of the parking garage. He started talking about how high up we were and jokingly asked if I thought I could survive if I jumped down from there, and obviously I wouldn't have. That's such a weird thing to ask. What the fuck? As we were turning down the stairs and were right next to the edge, which had a small railing before a straight drop, he shouted out, "Say goodbye!" and suddenly grabbed me and picked me up and brought me over the edge and dangled me there. And I fucking screamed out and was so scared I thought he was going to kill me, and he held me over the edge for a second and then pulled me back and put me down, and I was in shock and he was laughing like it was the funniest thing ever, and I was still processing what he just did to me. What the fuck? That's not okay. Even as a joke, that's not okay, and that doesn't qualify as a joke in my opinion. I was legitimately shaking, and I lost my appetite and mood to be out, and I just decided I wanted to go home, and I told him I'm going home, and he said it was just a joke, and he was just trying to have fun, and I told him he can come home with me now, or he can take the bus, but I'm driving home right now. And he said I ruined the date because he'd been really wanting to eat there and huffed on the way back, and I was still shocked because I was literally hanging over the edge, and I called to tell them we aren't showing up, and I got home and was just thinking about it and started crying, and he didn't even come over and console me, and he apologized later, but it was like sorry you got scared instead of sorry for doing something I shouldn't have, and my mood has been ruined the rest of the day. So Reddit, am I the asshole for going home? Fuck no! That's psychopath behavior! I genuinely feel like this is one of those situations where the husband just has like some terrible pent up like frustration or anger or something over his wife, and like this was him kind of like, I think, impulsively and not really fully thinking about it. Like just kind of his body doing something that he thought was kind of funny, but really it's just him kind of getting the anger or frustration out of his system, and that's not okay. That is a very not normal thing to do, and that you can't just fucking do that to someone. What the hell? One of the comments is, yeah, I'm sure the police would totally understand if he accidentally dropped her and was like, it's just a prank, bro. This is genuinely one of those situations where I'm like, okay, I don't know if I would trust that relationship anymore. At the very least, you need to have a very lengthy conversation and be like, listen, what you did was not okay. Even if you think it's a joke, me being put in literal danger over something like that is not funny. Am I the asshole for how I told my brother's girlfriend that sperm doesn't help with acne? Throwaway account because I do use Reddit. Fake names to protect privacy. Me, 37 male, and my brother Hank, 34 male, are medical doctors. My pet peeve is medical misinformation, so when I hear it, I'm quick to call it out. My brother's girlfriend Jane, 25 female. 34 and 25 is almost a 10-year age difference. And they are both adults. But like 25 is still pretty young. And I'm already not feeling great about any of this. My brother's girlfriend is a kind, empathetic, successful woman, but she's not an academic. The three of us, plus my wife Kelsey, 39, female, were hanging out and Jane mentioned something about sperm helping with acne. Without thinking, I immediately told her that was a myth that is probably still popular because guys use it to trick women. My mind wasn't on Jane's adult acne until after I said that. Hold on, sorry, there's some weird language here. Jane turned to Hank and asked him why he told her that sperm helps with acne. Ooh! Hank said he was joking when he told her. Jane wanted to leave, but she had been drinking, so my wife offered to drive her home. Hank was asking me why I told his girlfriend that in such a way. I told him that he shouldn't have told her that. He said it was a stupid joke. I told him that if so many people believe medical information from influencers on Instagram and TikTok, imagine how people will accept medical misinformation from a doctor. He said the way I said it made it seem like he was lying to her. Am I the asshole? No. I was already on offense because of the 9-year age gap with a 25-year-old, aka a couple years past college age basically. Edit. I was on the fence if I should bring it up before, but I think I should. Please don't let this make you scared of doctors. My brother and myself are both dermatologists. The vast majority of his patients are women in their 20s and 30s. If I really think about it, the vast majority of the women he has dated had adult acne. What the fuck? Oh, your brother is a fucking creep. Oh, I hate it here. Second edit. I told my wife my suspicions, so she talked to Jane, and she talked to women she knows personally who are my brother's patients. A patient in her 30s is neurodivergent. My brother told her to have her boyfriend too. I don't want to say on her face... Okay, the language is not good here. We definitely have to report my brother. Yeah, honestly, I'm genuinely shocked. He's like, okay, my brother is a creep, and I feel like I need to report this. That's so gross, dude. This whole situation. Am I the asshole for refusing to babysit my sister's miracle baby after what she did to my dog? Is this the sister that did something to the dog or the miracle baby? Well, I guess we'll find out. So my sister, 32 female, had a baby last year after years of struggling with infertility. We were all happy for her. She called him her miracle baby, and honestly, I didn't mind the attention he got until things got weird. What do you mean? You didn't mind the attention the baby got? I'm sure it's going to get into more here, but off the bat, I'm like, it's their baby. Of course the baby's going to get a lot of attention from the parents. I, 28 female, have a golden retriever named Benny. He's 5, sweetest boy alive. Everyone in the family loves him. Even my sister used to until the baby came along. One time, I brought Benny over when I visited. He stayed on his mat, didn't bark or even move. The baby started crying and my sister went, I think he's making the baby nervous, and asked me to put him outside in the middle of winter. I said no and left early. That was strike one. Next time I saw her, she told me straight up she didn't want Benny around her son because he's a dog. Because he's a dog? Huh? Okay. I said, okay, whatever, and stopped bringing him, but I could tell something shifted. Then one day, I was out of town for a weekend, and she begged me to let her stay at my place because hers was getting fumigated. I agreed, thinking it was chill. I come home Sunday night. Benny is hiding under the bed, trembling, looking all scared. I found out she locked him in the laundry room for 2 days straight because he was staring too much, and that made the baby fussy. No food or water bowl, just locked him in. That's fucking animal abuse! I lost it, told her she was never setting foot in my house again, and that she was lucky I didn't call animal services. Fast forward a month, she's going back to work, and suddenly I'm her first choice for free childcare, wants me to watch her baby 2 days a week. I said no. She flipped and called me bitter and selfish, and said I clearly don't understand what it means to love family unconditionally. My mom got involved and said I'm being cruel when I could be helping. But this isn't just about a dog, it's about how she treated something I love without remorse, and now expects me to drop everything and help her like nothing happened. Am I the asshole for saying no to babysitting my nephew because of what she did to my dog? What the fuck? No! I didn't really know where this was going in the beginning, with just like some weird stuff that was going on. But no, because I love dogs, and I've had dogs. Literally, my childhood dog Bella are on pictures right back here. A big, scary Rottweiler was like the dog that took care of me when I was a literal baby, right? My parents got her before I was even born, and then this beautiful, lovely dog Bella would like watch and protect me as a kid. So I am biased inherently, where I'm like, babies and dogs together are a perfect mix. All right, I don't care. I don't care. It's good for babies to have a sweet little presence in their life. It is the parent's child, so they have a right to say, the sister has a right to say, I don't want your dog around my baby. That is in their right to do. But if they then lock the dog in a fucking laundry room without food or water for 2 days, that is animal abuse, and I don't trust you as a human being. You, at the very least, just like keep the baby away from the dog. The dog will mind its own business if you keep the baby away. Am I the asshole for getting my coworker fired for his repeated visible dick print? Gross. I, 19 female, am interning part-time, and we all dress casually. I was alone in a room at my office one morning, and my coworker Josh, late 20s male, came and started chatting with me. When I turned to face him, I could clearly see the outline of his erection. He was wearing thin sweatpants, and they left nothing to the imagination. I didn't say anything. After he left, I just went back to work. Do you actually mean erection? Like, not just outline, not just bulge, like erection, like he is erect? Because that's definitely grounds for HR, and that's fucking disgusting. I ignored it that first time, but it kept happening. Josh would come alone to chat, and each time he was visibly hard, and I could see it through his flimsy shorts or sweatpants or thin dress pants. Like he didn't even act embarrassed or try to hide it. He'd just stand there like it's nothing. He acts normal around everyone else, and this hasn't happened any other time I've seen him, not with others around, just when it's only us. I'm gonna fucking throw up. I didn't bring it up to anyone yet. I just didn't want to appear dramatic. That's not dramatic, girl. Fuck him up. And didn't want to make myself a target. Then he started making comments. It's hot out. I had to wear these shorts today. One day, Josh came over and he asked me to come to his apartment nearby over lunch. I politely declined, and as he was leaving, he said, all right, I've got to go to the bathroom to take care of something. Oh, fuck. I hate this. That was it for me. I went to HR and reported everything. HR put Josh under review, and he ended up being fired with cause. Now some of my coworkers are icing me out. One of my coworkers sarcastically muttered out, I made sure to wear proper pants today, didn't want anyone to get any ideas, while I was having lunch near some of them, and they laughed. My boss has been talking to me less, and I feel alienated. Am I the asshole here? No! there's a possibility that they don't know the full story and don't know that this man was erect, but also just like fucking it's not an overreaction. If this ever happens, I'm just so unbelievably fucking grossed out. I'm so glad he got fired. What the fuck, dude? Some of the comments: sounds 100% intentional, gross behavior, absolutely not the asshole dude's a menace. Guys learn how to hide their erections in junior high. He was definitely wanting you to notice. If your coworkers know exactly why he was fired, they are assholes. The coworkers are also playing with fire. They know why this guy was let go and are continuing to bring it up for laughs and make OP uncomfortable. That workplace needs a shakeup. Am I the asshole for getting mad at my non-binary sibling for calling me a T-word? For context, I am queer. I actually have such mixed feelings and I don't know what to do about this situation. The other day, my sibling and I were joking around about me being on Grindr, and somehow that led to them saying I was a fucking T-word, which they meant in a joking, ironic way. I was super taken aback and said, "Wow, please don't call me that." They apologized and felt bad, but I didn't make a big deal out of it and forgave them there and then and moved on. My sibling identifies as gender nonconforming and uses they/them pronouns. They recently came out within the last year. I really try not to compare our gender journeys, but for context, I feel it's important to know. I'm a trans man and came out when I was 11 years old. I've been on T for the last 5 years and have had gender-affirming surgeries and have been receiving gender-affirming care for the past 8 years of my life. I feel very transgender. I also was heavily bullied in middle school for being the queer kid and was called a T-word derogatorily many times. It's never a word I personally use. Generally, I have no problem with trans people using the word, but I prefer not to be called it, even jokingly. Anyways, the other day I got a text from them saying they were thinking more about what they said the other day, and they felt they have the right to call me a T-word since they themselves aren't cis. I asked them if they identified as transgender, and they didn't know how to reply to that. I said that I feel that people who identify as trans can reclaim that phrase, but either way, it's not something I'd ever want to be called, joking or not. I also said that they never went through a transition, which I interpret as the trans part of transgender. They were upset because they felt that I was comparing our levels of transness. I can't understand why they are hurt and I feel bad. However, I feel that my experience as someone who has gone through bullying, discrimination, medical transitions, and gender dysphoria, that my experience can't be equated to their experience of changing their pronouns and hairstyle. I did say my inner thoughts to them, of course, but I'm so frustrated with my situation. Am I the asshole? Edit, my sibling is 27 and I'm 20, if that makes any difference. This is an interesting one because I actually think they're both a little bit in the wrong here. I don't think you're necessarily the asshole. It is absolutely your right to say, I do not want to be called this thing. And it is absolutely up to the sibling to respond to that and not call you that anymore. Even if you are both like trans men who had both gone through the same exact experiences, if one of them called the other the T word and that person said, I don't want to be called that, then that person should say, all right, I won't do that. I'm sorry, I apologize, it made you feel weird or bad or uncomfortable. You are not the asshole for getting mad at them for that. And the fact that they went back to him and said that they feel like they should be able to call him that is just wrong. Like, it's not up to you. If someone says they are made uncomfortable by something, you have to be like, okay, heard, understood. I won't do that anymore. It's not your right to call someone else a slur, even if it is in jest or as a joke. But the part where I feel like this person is also kind of an asshole is the part where they talk about how their experience as someone who's gone through bullying, discrimination, medical transition, gender dysphoria can't be equated to their experience of changing their pronouns and hairstyle. You don't know what their experience is, right? Just like they don't know what your experience is. You can't just say that they just changed their pronouns and hairstyle. You don't know what their experience is. You don't know what conflicts they've been through. You don't know what internal conflicts they've had. Dumbing it down to like this, oh, it's just doing this, is very weird. And it's coming across like trans medicalist, which I don't appreciate because you don't have to medically transition to be trans. I definitely don't think you're the asshole, but I also don't think you should refer to them in that way because it's just kind of weird. But then you're saying my transness is greater than yours. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't think you're the asshole for being upset about that, but I do think you should reconsider your feelings on the sibling. I don't know, just it comes off a little dehumanizing like of their experience. Alright, and this is going to be our last one of the day. As a gay guy, am I the asshole for refusing to be friends with an ex-homophobe? You're allowed to not be friends with anyone, is the thing. So that's my initial thoughts, but let's get into this. I, 17 male, am currently in high school. A few years back, I was friends with this other guy called Max. Me and him were very close, but eventually grew apart as we moved to different friend groups. He became friends with this really homophobic guy and still is his best friend to this day. One day I got into an argument with this guy and he ganged up on me and beat me up several times. Some days even followed me home. What the fuck? And on some occasions Max was even there laughing. That year I also decided to switch schools, but back when me and Max were still friends, my mom took a liking to him and decided to hire him as she is the owner. Eventually, I also decided to work at the same cafe. I was still closeted at this time, and one day he outed me to my mom. Fucking Christ. Luckily, nothing horrible happened, but it was still a horrible experience. He did not get into any trouble. Fast forward to now, we just finished Easter dinner. Max came in and gave me a gift. I thanked him, but didn't talk to him at all after that. Until after a few drinks of mimosas, it is legal, don't worry, I started talking a lot. My mom was very angry at me for not talking to him enough, and eventually me and him started a conversation, and Max outwardly defended the guy who beat me up. I told him that we could never be friends after what happened, and that he should be held accountable for his actions. My mom told me that I was being rude and unforgiving and an asshole. He's not even an ex-homophobe. He's actively defending a homophobe that bullied you and beat you up and followed you home. That's homophobe behavior, friends. No, you are not the asshole. I'm upset that your mom is taking his side because that's just kind of gross. Yeah, that's not good. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining me on this video. I hope you enjoyed me talking about these various things. Were you as shocked as I was on some of them? Because some of that was pretty bad. If you are here, please like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. I enjoy this community a whole bunch, and you truly help me have a better day. So thank you for joining. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.